Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner for over 35 years. I am not a Putin fan. Just saying it again loudly for the people in the back. We're going to talk today about the King's meeting with Zelensky. We're talking about King Charles III. Last reading that I did on the Two for Tuesday, you'll note that I did think that there was some urging of Prime Minister Starmer for the king to meet with Zelensky happened on the same trip over to the United Kingdom after their kerfuffle in the Oval Office here in the United States. So we're going to take a look at all of that. We're going to see the fallout. We're going to see the yellow brick road, and I'm going to be right back. I'm going to start that over again because I fucked it all up, didn't I? I should save that and use it as a blooper, shouldn't I?
Why would you?
I just said I'm going to start it all over again because I fucked it all up. Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner. In this video, we are going to be looking at the King's meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky. So unless you're under a rock, there was a big kerfuffle in the Oval Office last week. And then after Zelensky was requested to leave the White House, skipping lunch, he went over to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, and was promised a $2+ billion deal and also was given some measure of security guarantees. That was something that he discussed in the presser several times. So he met with the king as well. In my last reading, we did see that probably Starmer had urged the king to meet with him. We're going to look at it a little deeper in this reading. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back, tarot fans, tarot maniacs. So I've gotten a lot of heat every time I read on Zelensky. I'm always accused of being a Putin sympathizer. And I do want to say at the beginning of this video, I feel like I keep disclaimering this. It's not that I think that we should give Putin what he wants. It's that the war is unwinnable at this point without further extensive losses, without involving other countries. And at this point, we have to come to a negotiation table with both parties. Not everybody's going to get what they want. I do understand that there was an invasion of a country. Not everybody's going to get what they want. Keep in mind that Ukraine had just established independence in 1991, I believe. And for the prior 300 odd years, they were under Russian rule. So, there is some blending of cultures, blending of ethnicity in that area. And I've said time and time again, my father's side of the family thought that they were from outside of Moscow. When they did their 23andMe, they figured out that they were actually from this area, this Ukrainian area that is in dispute. So very curious indeed. So please continue to watch with an open mind. If you do have comments, bring me facts. Bring me facts, bring me figures. Don't say, look at the 80s. Don't say, look at what he did last week. Give me some facts and figures. I'm here, I consider myself an academic because I was an English and history major when I was in college. That is my degree. And I like to discuss this. I like to hear other sides of the situation. I don't want to see people suffer. I don't want to see any countries taken over. But at the same time, if you're in a situation where it's unwinnable, you really kind of have to give up. That being said, it's my understanding that Keir Starmer has sent either some supplies or has promised some supplies, and Putin has already made attacks on ships going into the Black Sea area. So there's already been an escalation of this, albeit on the Putin side, but it's a reaction to the promise of air control and also ground troops. So Starmer did say that he was open to putting troops on the ground and planes in the air. So this is in direct contrast to establishing a peace. So, but as of today, Zelensky is now saying he wants to come back to the table and make an agreement. I don't know how that affects the purported January 17th 100-year agreement that he has made with the British government, or Keir Starmer personally. I don't think it's personal, but apparently there was another agreement that was made in addition to the mineral contract that President Trump was offering. So let's take a look at how the king felt about this visit, how he feels about it now, and Zelensky as well. So I thank you for being here. There's a long intro. I don't like to do long intros. I like to get right to the cards because I know you guys want to see it. And baby boy is still sick, so I am not as gorgeous as I would like to be. He is doing well, though. His medication is working fine, keeping the virus pretty calm. He is influenza, my poor baby boy. You can see his tray of pancakes that I brought him for lunch. So, first question. What was King Charles III? What was his feelings about meeting with Zelensky initially? This is before the meeting when it was suggested to him. How did he feel about the meeting? 9 of Pentacles, as long as it was a controlled environment. Let's see what crosses that. And he does not want to be involved. So I think, was this a political move? The royal family is supposed to remain apolitical. Was this a political situation? I think it was. I don't know if we can sugarcoat that 10 different ways, but meeting with a president of a country that is actively in war with a very, very large superpower, it does kind of not sit well, especially after he met with Keir Starmer and there was the promise of money. Under the surface, the Sun card. Now, here's the thing. The Sun card is a good card. So this is absolutely King Charles giving that subtle support, advising that he is interested in the benefits of the Ukrainian country. I'm sorry, still sick myself, still nebulizing. So he is offering up some empathy, some consideration to Zelensky and the Ukrainian situation. In the suitcase position, 3 of Pentacles. This is staying out of it, taking a page out of the late Queen Elizabeth's book. He is not aligning himself with anyone publicly. He is not doing it publicly. Meeting is a little sketch, but up here, 6 of Swords. I do think that King Charles intended to empathize with Zelensky and the plight of Ukraine right now. I think he was very firmly not going to align himself with any kind of action or financing of the war that's going on there. And I do think that his dominance of intent prior to the meeting was to talk about peace, moving out of those crazy waters and into smooth waters, just for fun. Let's take a look. Do you think that he referenced the deal with Donald Trump? And how did he feel about it? If he referenced the deal with Donald Trump, how did he feel about it? 2 of Pentacles. I think he told him you do have options. This isn't your only option. You don't have to get in bed with America. You don't have to give up your mineral rights to America. You don't have to do all of that. Perhaps there is another solution. So this again would be a conversation, not necessarily a diplomatic conversation, but a solution conversation, maybe fine-tuning that deal. And I do think that that's what Zelensky was attempting to do in that press conference. I do think that he was attempting to change the deal that they were supposed to walk out of the room and sign. So it's already printed out. You can't do that. You can't start to add codicils and addendums to addendum. Is that the right word, Greg? In addition to? Yes. Okay, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Gregopedia. Gregopedia is here. So what was King Charles' intended outcome from this meeting? Intended to offer up empathy, a fact-finding mission, finding out what was going on. He is a world figure, but not getting involved. And I think that this is a smart move. Perhaps, did he want to keep that meeting quiet? Did he want to keep that meeting private? Those of you that would like to know, this is the Llewellyn Classic Tarot. I didn't say that at the beginning. There's a link in the description below if you would like to purchase this deck. It's one of my favorite decks. So did he want to keep the meeting private? Yes. He wanted to keep that a conversation between the two of them. We're just going to put that over there. Put a little angel rose quartz over that. This crystal is from Alicia Wicker. You can buy more of those on her website at aliciawicker.com. So how did King Charles see himself going into this meeting? The King of Cups. I do think that this is empathetic without being overly demonstrative. I understand your plight. I remember when we had experiences, I think the Falklands would be the closest thing that King Charles would have to this. Do you have an opinion on that? Would King Charles have any kind of reference to an invasion of British territory? Like the Falklands would kind of be it, right? Huh? The Falklands. There was a whole kerfuffle. And his brother was in it.
The Falkland Islands?
Yes.
I'm from New York. What Falkland Islands are you talking about?
Oh my God. You really? All right. You're no help. You're not being Gregopedia. You're not helping. So how did he see Zelensky going into this meeting? As reckless. I think the empathy, I don't think that he wanted to get too cozy with him. Hopes and fears. He wants to keep his hand and his interest kind of concealed, and that ultimate outcome, peace. The opposite of the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands can be constructive collaboration, like a bunch of artists kind of really talking about building a set for a play or creating a huge sculpture or something like that. And we can have different creative influences in there, but it can also be a conflict of creative influences. When I teach my tarot reverses, I shock all my students because I say, well, there's not an upright and a reverse. There's actually 6 degrees. So there's increasing energy, stable energy, decreasing energy in the upright and also in the reverse. And intuitively, as you read longer and longer, you start to develop your intuitive sense of how that card is reflecting. So this was King Charles going into that meeting. So what was Zelensky's goal in meeting with the king? What was his goal in meeting with the king? I'm in a tight spot. I am bound up. I must fight. Knight of Wands, that is a warrior. King of Wands can be a warrior. Knight of Wands can be a warrior. The Knight of Wands, remember, our knights are questers. They are going in and they are doing the do's. The pages, they are dreaming the dream. They are creating the idea. Queens are developing them, nurturing them, and the kings are masters over all. They have experienced all. They have grown from being the page into the king. Zelensky's goal was to express to the king that we are in a tight spot. We are out of resources, stuck out in the cold, rain. We have no shoes on, the whole bit. She has no shoes on. We are still fighting, but it has become too hard. It has become too hard. So what's the subtext in this? Can we be partners? Without a partner just like you, we cannot move forward. And what was the suggested outcome of this? Is that we will be backed into a wall, wounded and destroyed. And if you don't help, it will be our fault. So there are no pentacles there, but I do think he was looking for a confirmation of support, and then perhaps we would be asking for some pentacles. So Keir Starmer may have urged this meeting, but it may have been someone else. So the person or persons that urged the meeting between the king and Zelensky, what was their goal? What goal did they have in mind? So they wanted the example of what history in action looks like in the moment. Now, the hangman is about stopping, considering, taking things that have happened and kind of processing them for some time and finding that illumination. You can see the illumination around the hangman's head. Taking a moment out of your busy day to consider the plight and crisis that is happening now. The nines, remember, nines are conclusion. Nines are the finish. Let's just get us back in focus there. Nines are completion and conclusion. Tens are moving on to the next phase. This is our darkest hour. We need help. This is our darkest hour. And we can hold the line, but we need more oomph. That strength card, I always want you to remember that the strength card is the iron fist and a velvet glove. This is making diamonds out of coal, pressure over time. So is this for the king to appreciate the plight of the Ukrainians and that they need to continue this war? Strength is continuation in perpetuity until a bright, shiny diamond happens at the end of it. So do the urgers of King Charles want this war to continue and hold it at bay and think that there's not going to be this moment where someone goes, enough is enough, and they shove Ukraine to the floor, or the Ukrainians to the floor? Perhaps. I think that is really what they're doing. They're trying to wait out and starve it out. Not really a great plan. What was the subtext here? Again, these are the urgers. This is very interesting. The urgers are looking for a word of support because they are out of warriors. Was this an appeal? Not that the king is soft power. Soft power is like the phrase of the week. Not that the king is soft power, but were they looking for someone to say, the British people should lend all of their support to this and possibly put boots on the ground? Is that what they were looking for? I can't say. I don't think so. Now, because the Five of Swords, when we go into reverse, is the fight continues, but in reverse, it's not necessarily the fight continues. This is, we cannot continue without. The subtext is not really there. It's kind of like an ellipsis. We're almost out of people. We can't really go any further. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen the video of that mob shoving a person into a car, and the mother in red is kind of clutching onto them, the alleged mother. You can't really tell, it's a little far away, but allegedly that is the Ukrainian army grabbing young men into the army, into the front line. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. We cannot really trust the media at this point. We don't know what they're showing us and what they're not showing us. And again, that's why I said allegedly, some boats have been blown up that perhaps were thought to have maybe carried supplies from the United Kingdom to Ukraine. So it's alleged. There's, not too much press on this. I saw it in a couple of different things. So I hope I'm not spreading bad information. But I think this is a situation where we do get a lot of bad information. So what was the king's takeaway? We know what his intention was before the meeting started. I don't want to go into his goals, because I do think that was his goal. His goal was to say, well, I'm very sorry that your people are going through this, and I wish there was something that we could do, but we can't, because we are not political. And I'm broke because I have that bozo son. Did you laugh?
Yes.
So what was that?
I didn't know we cheated on her.
What was the king's takeaway after the meeting? What was his disposition after the meeting? And then what was his takeaway? We'll do his disposition on the top. We'll do a reveal for you guys. 1, 2. Love the back of this deck too, if you guys are interested. So this was what was his disposition after, and what was his takeaway after. His takeaway. So this is how he felt, and this is what he learned. This is King Charles, how he felt. 2 of Swords. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I've got to distance myself from this, because we're in a real good spot and they are not. They are absolutely not in a good spot. So he does not want to bring this kind of action to home. I'm going to add a question here. What was his word with Keir Starmer after this? Well, let's look at his takeaway first. His takeaway is, this is an incredibly unfortunate situation. I don't think he thinks it's winnable either. And I think he sees only losses, and then we will look back upon this with regret. 5 and 7's very, very unstable energy here. He is glad to be done with the conversation. He doesn't want it coming to the beautiful British Isles. But here, very unstable energy. This is his takeaway. This is a fray he does not want to get into. So what is the king's advisement if Keir Starmer said, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? What would his advisement be to Keir Starmer? What would his advisement be to Keir Starmer? 5 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, 7 of Cups. So we need to stay out of this as the United Kingdom. And this is a situation that we really need to be on the outside of. We really can't invest, get involved. I think he said a little bit of investment is good. And I think 2 point something billion is a notable investment. This is not what we did. We gave 1.70, but apparently you only got 70 of it. Well, we gave 1.70 in one payment, and 100 of it's gone missing. Shocking. So it is pocket change. It could just fall out. This situation is going to get hazier and more complicated the more countries that get involved. So throw a little bit of money at it so we don't seem terrible, but it's going to get complicated. What would Keir Starmer's response be to that? Oh boy. So his response would be, we are a superpower. We have an obligation, a moral, psychic obligation to help this go through. And I do think that Keir Starmer is going to refer to the situation that we had in the 30s and 40s with a certain country in the middle that may or may not be Germanic. I can't say the name of their particular party because the YouTubes doesn't like it. But I do think he's going to reference that, and that this could come to England itself. We could see a blitz if we don't help. But I am of the opinion they could potentially see a blitz if they do help. So it gets complicated. So what will be the fallout? This deck loves to fall out. My good friend Zephyr K9 said those cards are flying. Zephyr, they're still flying today. And just so you guys know, I am recording this at 2:30 in the afternoon on March 4th. I did watch some news today. What's that?
You have no desire to harm yourself.
And I have no desire to harm myself. Did you say Hillary Clinton?
Hey, nobody said that.
Oh, nobody said that.
Oh, watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth. There's no mafia. So, will there be any fallout for the king? How are people going to react to this? We're talking about the bulk of people. The bulk of people. Oh, did I hear the patient moving? I think I heard the patient moving. Page of Swords up there in reverse, kids. Page of Wands. So the bulk of opinion, and I do have a great deal of friends that are English, Scottish, and Irish. So the bulk of opinion is that this is a slippery slope. So King Charles needs to be very careful about this slippery slope, because there are too many people, and I've been on my social media and I'm really horrified at how many people are drawing such firm lines, and I support Ukraine, I don't support Ukraine, not my country, not my war. People are getting very, very two-sided about it. And I think that that's what we're seeing here, is that there are people on both sides of the argument here. And I think the reality is that all people want peace. This Ace of Wands in reverse is not going into the fray, not being impulsive, not having this passionate, kind of George Washington moment, which I do know that is how they're framing Zelensky. They're trying to frame him as this George Washington, a rebellion against the great big, overseer. Does it work in this sense? The American Revolution was so different. We were here. They had British armies that were coming over, but we had slow ships. You can't move people that fast. So would our American Revolution have happened, say in 2000? Would it have happened? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we would not have done that. I did say in one of my readings that England, I think, does have a little bit of the rebellious cousin in there. And I think that they're going to respond with a little bit of rebellion. I think they're going to put their foot down and say, absolutely not. We're not putting boots on the ground there. This is not our war. And I think that the bulk of people in England see that fighting, involvement, adhering to, and I don't mean to say dogma, but like it's a bad thing, but adhering to this call for justice and freedom. I think that people don't want to strap on their boots and go. They don't want to get into this fray. I think a lot of people find their glory in other places than the battlefield in the modern world. Um, it's unfortunate, but people, ask Generation X. We don't want to get off our couch and put our remote down or our remote control. I want to play some Mario Kart tonight, by the way. That was a weird segue, wasn't it? Here, the suitcase position. Let's not get into a situation where we're going into heavy waters, where we're going into rough waters. We have and England, I believe, has their own issues now, their own domestic issues. Why add to it? It's like if you have a house full of people and everybody's kind of scrambling around, would you adopt 3 kids and bring them in? No. Like, if you don't have the room, if you don't have the finances, if you don't have the food to maintain them, you can't add to it. And I think that the bulk of people in England are feeling that same way. So that's going to be the fallout. I think they're really going to stress that they don't want to go to war. Will we see anti-war protests going on in England? I think likely. I think that is very, very likely that people will start to respond, with their voices out on the street. Now, let's see how that goes over. I know Keir Starmer is not real big on people talking. So what will be the fallout for Zelensky from having this discussion with the king? I think it'll be minor. Have a minor fallout. Knight of Cups. He walked away unhappy. He walked away unarmed. Judgment. He's still in the same spot. He's stuck in the same spot. Look at these cards, boys and girls. But that Three of Cups. So I do think that the arrangement with Keir Starmer, he got the job done. Zelensky got what he needed. He got more money. He got more support. He got the promise of ground troops, a potential promise of ground troops and air support. But I think with the king, he expected more of an embrace. I think he expected more of, oh, you poor thing, let me help you through the night. We're still here. We're still stuck in the muck. We're still stuck with those little bare feet. Look at her bare feet stuck in a muck. So the interesting thing about the Eight of Swords is that, and in this deck, she is tied up a little bit more tightly. That would be a subtlety in this particular deck that you would read differently. But in the traditional Rider-Waite, these are very loose binds, and she could just drop them and take off the blindfold and walk out through those swords. This is a self-imposed imprisonment. So, this particular gal, she's right at the threshold of those swords. She can walk right out of there. This is a situation that is solvable if one just works toward the solution. Not moving forward with the king, not really happy, not getting any kind of military support from the king. Not that the king can offer up that military support. But I think, he got the job done. Did he need the king in this situation? No. I think not getting that stamp of approval, that royal warrant, if you will, on his war, I think really was something that he was looking for. So what is the yellow brick road for King Charles? I think he's pretty much in the sweet spot on this. And this video is going so much longer than I thought it would. I think he's in the sweet spot. I think he knows what he's doing. What is his yellow brick road? Wheel of Fortune, the Chariot, Queen of Pentacles, no money, no money, no money. Page of Cups. I don't think he's going to have him on speed dial. I don't think that they are going to be pen pals or text buddies. I don't think they're going to be on each other's WhatsApp or anything like that. I think they are going to, that'll be a meeting and that's it. Just that one meeting. Justice in reverse. Justice in reverse is really, I can't award you anything. I can't make this decision. If you're looking to me to be the deciding factor in whether the United Kingdom puts the stamp of approval on this war and our involvement, I'm not your man. I'm not the guy to do it. I think down here, he was frank and emotional. He doesn't want to go to war. Why would King Charles want to go to war? Or be part of a war? He has a dwindling family. He has a renegade son. He has cancer. I mean, why would he want to go to war in this particular situation? I certainly think that he does not want a situation like the Blitz. He doesn't want to see a WW2 type Blitz on England. So I think this kind of gaslighting, in this case, the Seven of Cups, really is gaslighting. Oh, I'm so busy. I think he's going to give him the Harry treatment. Oh, you're in town. I'm sorry. I'm so busy. I have a bunch of things to do. My schedule is planned 6 months in advance, which is like the greatest excuse ever. So I think the royal family's doing it right. But here, Wheel of Fortune, I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm going to stick with my own things. Chariot, I am moving forward. I am not handing out any money. I am not going to have any conversations that will enrich your coffers. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to extend any more sympathy publicly. I am not going to do that. And here, I will not have a conversation with you moving forward. I'm just going to be too busy. I'm not your decision maker. So I think this is a very interesting take on the meeting with King Charles. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I have some surprises coming up for you for the rest of the week. Don't think that they're planned because I just don't have any plans yet. I have to plan my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday videos. So I didn't put up my list of things that I'm doing this week because I'm kind of all over the place. I am trying to figure out where my lives are going to come in. So you guys might have to wait until Saturday. I do want to do a little meet and greet with Sassy and Shameless. My girlfriend Kathy, the world's loudest librarian, and her friend Veronica. Well, she's my friend too. I do want to do kind of a meet and greet so you guys can meet them and see what their show is about and do some readings for them on their channel. So I may do that for Friday, but we'll see. We may do a live with them. Who knows? I'm going to figure it out later on today while I get little sick boy back into good stead. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know how you feel about King Charles meeting with Zelensky and how you feel about him giving that kind of soft nod to the actions that are happening in the Ukraine. Do you think this is going to affect how Vladimir Putin is now looking at the United Kingdom? That's going to be a reading that's going to come up. I'll do a little mini read on that this week too. But things seem to be happening fast and furious. As of the recording of this, they were saying that I almost said Mussolini. Zelensky is. I almost said Mussolini. As of this recording, Zelensky was the promotion was that he was ready to sit down and discuss things. But then I did see an article that said they are selling T-shirts in Ukraine for I think the exchange is $24. You can get a T-shirt that you'll pay $24 and it will fund the armored ambulances. And the T-shirt says in Ukrainian, "I will wear the costume when the war is over," which was the statement that he made in the Oval Office. So let me know what you guys think. You know, like I said, I'm taking some heat on this and I don't want to be. I want this to be an intellectual conversation that we have while looking things over through the tarot scope. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope everyone is safe and sound, and I will see you all in the future.